वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तस्थमीश्वरम्। कृष्ण कृष्ण गोपी कृष्ण 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 गोपी कृष्ण राधा कृष्ण मोहन कृष्ण राधा कृष्ण मोहन कृष्ण 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 गोपी कृष्ण 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 गोपी कृष्ण रासलीला रमण कृष्ण रासलीला रमण कृष्ण गोपबाल तांडव कृष्ण गोपबाल तांडव कृष्ण 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 गोपी कृष्ण राधा गोपी प्रियतम कृष्ण राधा गोपी प्रियतम कृष्ण राधा गोपी प्रेमी कृष्ण राधा गोपी प्रेमी कृष्ण 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 गोपी कृष्ण राधा कृष्ण मोहन कृष्ण 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 गोपी कृष्ण नृत्यगान लोला कृष्ण नृत्यगान लोला कृष्ण आनन्दात्मक हेला कृष्ण आनन्दात्मक हेला कृष्ण नृत्यगान लोला कृष्ण आनन्दात्मक हेला कृष्ण आनन्दात्मक हेला कृष्ण 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 गोपी कृष्ण राधा कृष्ण मोहन कृष्ण 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 गोपी कृष्ण राधा राधा राधे कृष्ण राधा राधा राधे कृष्ण गोप गोपी मुरली कृष्ण Krishna 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 Vishnu Rupa Vaishnava Krishna Vishnu Rupa Vaishnava Krishna 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 Vishnu Rupa Vaishnava Krishna 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 Gopi Krishna Radha Krishna Mohan Krishna Radha Krishna Mohan Krishna Radha Krishna Mohan Krishna Radha Krishna Mohan Krishna 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 Gopi Krishna Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakare Namo Vedanta Vidyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine Gurave Buddhi Sakshine Krishna Dvaipayanam Vyasam Sarvalokahidaishinam Vedācya Bhaskaram Vande Samadhilayam Munim Samadhilayam Munim Hari Om. Bhagavan himself is the highest principle known as Chit. Without this highest principle known as Chit, the world of cause and effects cannot appear, cannot manifest, cannot happen. So if anything and something or everything is happening in this creation, it is happening because of the highest principle, that is Chit. And he himself is that. This principle is even beyond the Brahma of the Trinity, Trimurtis. And this alone is responsible even for the manifestation of Brahma. So, anything that is there in the creation begins with Brahma. So, he is beyond the Brahma. So, when Brahma has created so many things, including our organs of perception, action, so on and so forth, then how to know that which is beyond the Brahma? Are the things which are given to us by Brahma sufficient enough? How can we know that? That also is a question. Can we be known through sense organs? Can we be known through inference? Can we infer? Or can we compare it with anything? Or can he be made known through verbal testimony? Or through presumption? Or through non-apprehension? So these are all various ways of gaining knowledge generally, which are prevalent, which are prevailing. He is beyond our understanding. That itself is being glorified as one of the names of Bhagavan in the next sloka. Aprameyo Hrishikeshaha qualifies for measuring. There has to be something which can be measured by our limited, capable, oriented instruments of measurement. Our instruments cannot measure him actually. There is nothing which is in the realm of our capacity of our instruments to measure him. So it is said, because he cannot be reached by senses. Our senses have a limited capacity and they can only comprehend or know or experience or perceive sense objects. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, that's all. Other than that, it is not possible for the sense organs to know. So, when whatever is known through direct perception, through sense organs, we think that is there, that is existing. Anything beyond our sense organs, through sense organs, we cannot say whether it is existing or not. But still we know, beyond our sense organs capacities, there are many things that are existing, that can be branded as existing. And there are much more higher things which can be called as non-existing also. Existent, non-existent, so on and so forth. So it is said, because he cannot be reached by senses, as he is beyond sense objects, such as Shabda, Sparsha, sound, form, taste, etc., he is aprameyaha, immeasurable. Na pratyaksha gamyaha. He cannot be measured by the senses directly because he is beyond all these sense objects, so that is not possible. So he is immeasurable. Okay, then can he be grasped or understood through inference? Can he be known through inference? Then it is said he is devoid of marks, any marks leading to inference. If there are any marks, we can infer. Suppose fire is there and then smoke comes out of the fire. We see the smoke, we don't see the fire. So from a distance, which of smoke is there, so fire must be there. So there should be some marks. So there are no marks, so he cannot be inferred. So he said, na anumanamya. Okay, then can he be compared with something? Can he be known through comparison? He is like that, he is like this, and all that. Normally people compare us also with so many things and we feel happy with some comparisons, we feel unhappy with few comparisons. So can he be known through comparison? Then it is said, he cannot be known through that comparison nor through an analogy because he has no parts. So no comparison can be made. If there is something as a part, some comparison can be made. Somebody says, your face is like a moon. Your strength is like Bhima. Something and all they can say. But here there is no mark only. So that also is not possible. Na api upamana siddha. It is not possible to know him. Okay. Then can he be known through implication? Uha or bhava. It is said it is impossible to attain anything without him. Even that bhava also with him only you can do that bhava. So it is said that na api bhava gocharaha. Even through bhava also he cannot be reached. Okay. Can he be understood through negative proof? It is not possible, because it is the positive existence as well as the witness of negation. If you negate anything, it is witness of it. So that way also you cannot know. And then finally, Adi Shankaracharya raises this question. Okay, then through Shastras can it be known? In the beginning he says he cannot be. Why he says? Not through the testimony of Shastras. Na api Shastra Pramana Vedya. Because he is devoid of any of the excellences produced by means of valid cognition. If there are any excellences, if he has got any excellences produced by means of valid cognition, we can say. So then he is said as Pramanajanya Atishaya Abhava. So even through Pramanas also he cannot be known. But still, how can we understand that, how it is said that through Shastra he is known? Then Adi Shankaracharya answers. Even though the supreme light, and also the witness of all, he is the witness of all meaning, all proofs also, all pramanas also, is beyond the reach of Shastra. But still, the explanations that are given by the Shastra serve to remove the superimpositions that are there. Whatever superimpositions are there on Bhagavan, the Shastra serves to remove all those superimpositions. Whatever is not belonging to his nature, of his nature, that can be removed, and then through that Shastra reveals him who cannot be measured, because he is the witness. That is the way in which, by removing things which are not belonging to him, which are superimposed upon him, which are thought of as to be him, and then finally what he is revealed with the help of Shastra. That is why it is said to be made known through in that manner. So that is why in the normal ways of comprehension it is not possible to know him. That is why it is called as aprameya, immeasurable. What you can measure the infinite, it is not possible. So that is one. Then Hrishikesha. Hrishikesha, one of the meanings is the Lord of the senses. Hrishikana, Indriyani, Kesham, Isha, Chetragna, Rupa. Krushika means the senses or the Indriyas. Krushikana, Isha means the Prabhu or the Lord. So, Krushikani, Indriyani, Kesham, Isha. So, he is the Prabhu or the Lord of the senses which are called as Krishikas. And he is in the form of Kshetrajna, who knows whatever things that are there in the Kshetra. He is known as Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. So this is the field of our experience. So he is the knower of the field, Kshetrajna. That Kshetrajna is alone in here is called as Hrishikesha. Or another meaning is he who controls the senses. How the senses are controlled? He alone can control the senses. And he is also called as, Hrishikesha also means the supreme Atma. He alone can control everything. And another meaning which is here given by Sri Adi Shankaracharya is one who is in the form of sun and moon. He is in the form of sun also, he is in the form of moon also. And Hrishi means delights. The word by his Kesha means rays. Who is in the form of sun and the moon, what they give to the word? Sun rays, moon rays. So one who delights the world through his rays in the form of sun, in the form of moon. Sun rays also are required, moon rays also are required, day and night. So that is how we all get delighted by sun and the moon. Actually, only the people who cannot see the sun, they will understand what is the importance of the sun and all that very rarely when they see the sun. whatever it is, but the rays of the sun and the moon are very important for us also, and as well as for various other beings also. So it is said in the Shanti Parva of Mahabharata, the sun and moon through their rays, known as Kesha, always uphold the universe as it were by awaking it and causing it to sleep. Universe is delighted by these two things. When we wake up, there are so many opportunities for us. That also is a way of getting delighted, cause of delight. And to take rest also, to go to sleep also is delightful. So that also is a way of getting into delight. So sun and moon, the rays of the sun and moon. So the sun awakes people, moon gives a signal to go to sleep, causes the sleep. So both the ways they are delighting only. So that is why Bhagavan is called as Rishikesha also. And he is also called as Rishikesha because he is the giver of boons. He gives boons and boons and boons. So that is why he gives boons and then delights people. That is why also he is called as Rishikesha. And he is the sustainer of the universe. That also is the meaning of Rishikesha. Rishika also means that which gives us joy. So that is why Bhagavan gives us joy, because he has only that. In various ways he gives us that joy. That is why he is called as Rishikesha. So, very nice name. That Bhagavan gives us joy, Bhagavan gives us boons, Bhagavan delights us. So everything is very nice. So early in the morning, when we see the early morning sun, there will be delight and there will be refreshing energy. There will be very healthy rays, all that. And even the moonlight also, it will help not only our mind but also various other constituents of our body also to gain a sort of refreshing energy from the moon also. And even plants also gain the strength from the moon. So through plants we also gain the strength of the moon indirectly also. So Bhagavan is delighting us in various ways. That is why it is called as Rishikesha. And if we want to control our Indriyas, he will help us in controlling Indriyas also, because he is the Lord of Indriyas. One who is the Prabhu of Indriyas only can control Indriyas. One who is the servant or sevaka of Indriyas cannot control the Indriyas. So Rishikesha. Next one, Padmanabha, lotus navel. His navel as a lotus navel. Sarva Jagat Karanam Padmam Nabho Yasya Saha Padmanabha. Lotus symbolizes the source of all universe. Brahma himself came out of the lotus that came out of the navel of Bhagavan Vishnu. And then Brahma created. So the creator came out of the lotus which came out of navel. So naturally that is the source of all creation. And Gurudev calls it very differently, says that is the source of all creativity. Very nice. The source of all creativity. So the energy that is there in the navel also helps in creativity. Because Brahma is born creator, who created everything through his creative capacity, is born to that. So the lotus symbolizes the source of the universe, which is his navel. And then Taittiriya Samhita also says, in the navel of Vishnu, all this is established. Where the whole Jagat is established, in the navel of the Vishnu, in the navi of the Vishnu, Jagat is established. Who said Taittiriya Samhita said, so we have to understand and believe it. That is all it is. So, creative faculties in a man, Swami Chidmayananda says, flow from the navel center. And they manifest as the four-faced inner equipments, which are called as Antakarana. That is another way of understanding the creative power. Who created the internal organ, four-faced Antakarana, he alone, the creative faculties. And then Swamiji also says, an idea becomes an action only when it passes through the four stages of Para, Pashanti, Madhyama and Vaikari, which are the various stages of the vak, speech, and then it becomes the action. Speech itself is an action, karma. So that way also, that four-faced thing is expressed. So whichever way you understand, he is the source of the entire creation. And then next one, Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma means the creator of the universe. Or Vishwakarma also means he is the agent of all acts. All of our acts, karmas, he is the agent. Or he is called as Vishwakarma, being possessed of wonderful powers of creation. Very, very beautiful things are there in the creation. If you look at it, you wonder how, what all things are there. Each species has unique features in connection with it. The way, the mannerism, the way it is created, the colors, the behavior, so many things. So, who brought forth these wonders of creation? Only the one who has got these capacities or wonders in himself. So that wonders of creation are brought forth into existence by him. So wonderful powers of creation. And Vishwakarma also means he resembles Twashtra, the celestial architect. In the celestial worlds there is an architect called as Twashtra. So he resembles. So that is why he is also called as Vishwakarma. Meaning what? He has the creative wonders which he can manifest. Wherever we see the wonders in creation or creative wonders, it is only through him. Even if you and I want to bring out such creative wonders, we have to invoke him alone. Only then that creativity can manifest through us in the world outside. Next, Manu means the thinker. Manana Manu. Nanyatosti Manta. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, meaning there is no other thinker except him. He alone is the thinker. He thought and brought everybody into existence, who later on thought and brought forth other things. So he is the main thinker. There is no other thinker except him. And here Manu also means a mantra or Prajapati, who is called as the progenitor by that name. So he is the one who brought forth everything into creation. So that way also is Manu. Next one, Twashta. Twashta means the reducer of all beings during the withdrawal of the universe. When the universe is being withdrawn, he reduces every gross structure into subtle, and then subtle into causal, causal into the beyond, and the beyond into the farthest beyond, and subtlest beyond subtlest, like that. He goes on reducing everything. So the reducer of all beings during the withdrawal of the universe. Next, Stavishta. Stavishta means he is the biggest. There is nothing bigger than him. If you go on claiming I am bigger, bigger than somebody else is bigger, bigger than him, but somebody else is bigger, like that one. Somebody else is bigger than the other one. But beyond him, there is nothing which is bigger than him. So that is why he is the biggest. Then, Sthaviro Dhruva, meaning ancient and firm. He is the ancient and at the same time firm. Few times we come across people who are old but very firm in their understanding and knowledge, grounded in their understanding because of entire lifespan of experiences, the wisdom which they are firm because they are ancient. Not only that, another meaning of this is Thavira means maturity and Dhruva means stable. Thaviro Dhruva means mature and stable. The one who has maturity and stability. When will stability come? Only when there is maturity. Maturity in another words means in spite of the changing situations, upsetting situations, still to see the positivity and to see the divine hand and yet remain very firm in understanding and stable in expressions. That is why maturity and stability. If we want maturity and stability, who can give us? He alone can give us because he has that in abundance. He has it. So you ask it, it comes from him. Now we move on to the next sloka, which has very, very important messages also. Agrahya Shashvata Krishno Lohitaksha Pradardanaha Prabhudastrika Uddhama Pavitram Mangalam Param. Agrahyaha, he who cannot be grasped by the organs of action. Karmendriyaihi na gruhyata iti agrahyaha. Karmendriyas are organs of action. He cannot be grasped. Whenever we want to hold people, we grasp them by our hand. And can we also grasp him? He cannot, because he is beyond the organs of action. And it is also said, Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. In the Taittiriya Upanishad it is said, where all speech with the mind turns away, unable to reach it. Speech turns away because it is unable to reach it. Mind turns away because it is unable to reach it. So he is beyond the speech and beyond the mind. Through the speech also, through the mind also, he is not graspable. And then it is also said, since he is the subject who is the perceiver in all that is perceived, subject is the perceiver who perceives all the objects. Subject can never become the object. That is also he is said to be agrahyaha. Then it is said, yad chakshusha na pashyati yena chakshumshi pashyati. That which eyes cannot perceive, but because of which eyes are perceiving. That which eyes cannot perceive, but because of which eyes are perceiving everything. Gurudev used to give a simple example. You can have a torch light. The torch light, the light in the torch can perceive everything, not the battery behind the light. The moment you open the battery, it cannot become light. Like that simple example. Whatever. So, with the eyes, we perceive everything. That is because of which eyes perceive everything. But he cannot be perceived by the eyes. He is not perceived by the eyes, but because of whom the eyes perceive. Tadeva Brahma Tvam Vidhi Nedam Yedam Upasate. Understand that to be Brahman. Because of whom the eyes perceive, understand that to be Brahman, and not that which you hear perform the Upasana. Meaning not that which is the form here, but he is the Mahavishnu who is beyond all these perceptions. That is Agrahyaha. Then Shashvataha, meaning ever existing, always he is existing. Shashvat sarveshu kaleshu bhavati iti Shashvataha. Ever existing because he exists at all times. Sarveshu kaleshu, always, all times he will be there. Rest all other people, once upon a time they were there, or now they are there. After some time they will not be there, and everybody will have some tags attached to them. Born, died, came, went, visited, left, like that. There are so many tags attached, but he is ever existing. Then in the Mahanarayana Upanishad it is said Shashvatam Shivam Achyutam, meaning he is ever existing, Shiva and Achyuta. He alone is Achyuta, he alone is Shiva, and he is ever existing Shiva and Achyuta. And Swami Chinmayananda says, he is the very illuminator of time. And the illuminator can never be affected by what it illumines. Time also is illuminated by him. So how can time influence him? So he is beyond time. That is why he is Shashwataha. And then comes the most glorious form in the world, Krishna. Here, a very beautiful analysis and interpretation and understanding is there. Krishna means Sada Ananda Atmakaha. Sada Ananda Atmakaha Krishna. Krishna has existence and bliss as his essence. What is the essence of Krishna? Existence and bliss. Sada Ananda Atmakaha. Sada Ananda Atmakaha. That is the beauty. And Vyasa Bhagavan in the Udyoga Parvam in Mahabharata says, Krushir Bhuvachakaha Shabdo Nashya Nirvriti Vachakaha. The word Krish means Bhuvachakaha Shabdo, existence. And the word Na means bliss. Krish means existence, Na means bliss. Vishnu Tat Bhava Yogacha Krishno Bhavati Shashwataha. The union of these two, Krish plus Na, the union of these two is called eternal Brahman, who is the Krishna, existence and bliss. That is why Krishna is the existence and he is the bliss. That is the highest meaning that we can give to Krishna. Krish means existence, Na means bliss. Krishna, existence, bliss. So even when we say Krishna, we will get that joy of what he has, the Ananda of what he has. His own Ananda will get. And Krishna also, because he is dark blue in complexion, he is called as Krishna. Krishne Varnashya Me Yasmat Tasmat Krishno Aham Arjuna. Bhagavan says to Arjuna in Mahabharata, as my color is dark blue, I am called Krishna or Arjuna. That is an ordinary meaning he told. Arjuna asked, depending upon the mood of that Arjuna, receptive capacity of Arjuna at that time, he told only that much. Otherwise, he would have told existence and bliss and dark blue, okay, dark blue, that is Krishna, okay. Only the people who are capable enough to understand, fit enough to know and experience, he might not say, but he might make them experience that he is existence and bliss. He is Sada Ananda Atmaka. And Swami Chinmayananda says, Krishna also means enchanter of his devotees, Akarshan. So, truth is that which irresistibly attracts everybody towards itself. Truth draws everybody towards itself. Krishna means one who sweeps away all the sins in the heart of those who meditate upon him. If you meditate upon him, he will sweep away all the sins that are there in our heart. Now, let us see something which is very profound, very deep and very significant, but very easily misunderstood and very easily misinterpreted and miscommunicated. That is one of the most beautiful things that happened in Vrindavan on the Kartika Purnami night. That is the Rasa Leela. Most misinterpreted, most misunderstood, most miscommunicated, but it is the most profound thing. We will see that from few angles. First thing, what is required here? is the Shraddha on Sri Krishna, the faith on Sri Krishna. If the faith is there, the attitude is different, the approach is different, the outlook is different, the understanding is different, the knowing capability is different. The faith is totally different. Through faith, everything is different. The melody that comes out of the flute of Sri Krishna, to become that melody, to understand that melody, to recognize that melody, to know that melody, one needs Shraddha on Sri Krishna. Not everyone can listen to that melody, because first of all, at the night time, everybody will be in sleep. And who are those people who, at the night time, when Sri Krishna is playing the flute, his Murali Nada, Murali Gana, people listen to it, so keen, and they recognize that it is Krishna's melody coming from his flute. See, in normal, first of all, nobody will be alive. Normal day-to-day experiences. See, there are at times certain people who wait for someone to come back home. Like sometimes children wait for their father to come back home after the office hours. So they will be waiting. And the vehicle that the father uses also makes sound, along with various other things that make sound, vehicles that make sound. But the children who are keenly waiting for the father, from a distance they listen to the sound, amidst so many sounds and noises and voices and all that. Can they pick up? Hey, father is coming, dad is coming. How the sound of that motorbike or scooter or that particular vehicle which the father uses, they catch it from a distance. They did not see him. He is not even visible. But they listen to the sound. Hey, father is coming. To be alert, and there are so many sounds, to recognize that sound particularly and associate that sound with the father, and after some time, father comes with the vehicle. That is clear, that is sure. How all this is possible? Because of this Shraddha on the father. Anything that is expressed by or through the father, or the objects that the father uses, the people, the children are very attractive. Like that, Shraddha on Sri Krishna. Anything that Sri Krishna manifests or makes to manifest, that is heard by, listened to by the people who are very alert and they are full of trust and faith in Sri Krishna. There are many people at that time, there were many people at that time who were sleeping, and few of them got up, and after they got up they recognized it, but still, okay, anyway, sleep with the and they slept. And there are some people who got up and went out to the door, wanted to go out, at this time going out and then they went and slept. In those days, at night time, for the woman in the house to go, because they heard the melody of God, it was not all that easily possible. Nowadays, at any time they are outside, it's a different story altogether. But in those times, see, the important thing here is, because the people had Shraddha, only those people who had total and utmost Shraddha on Sri Krishna, they not only were able to recognize it at that night time, but also went out of the house and then merge into that Naga which came out from Sri Krishna and Sri Krishna's story. Those people who do not get into the control of deep sleep would only go to the proximity of Sri Krishna, could gain the proximity of Sri Krishna on that evening. Otherwise, people are controlled by deep sleep. Sri Krishna Samibhya is possible when we are not under the clutches of the deep sleep, or which is signified by the tamas. See, gopis or gopikas have understood one thing. Not only that samsara is anitya, but samsara dharmas are also anitya. Please understand. Gopikas are those beings who have such evolved understanding that they have understood that samsara is anyway anitya, temporary, evanescent, fleeting, impermanent, momentary. But they have also understood samsara dharmas are also anitya. It is not easy. To know samsara is anitya, it is easy. After some explanations are grasped by us. But to understand samsara dharmas are anitya, it is not easy. Not possible. Samsara dharmas, people can't take them to reality. This duty, that duty, that duty, that duty. But in pursuit of God, even that dharma also is anitya. In pursuit of God, even that dharma also is anitya. There are many samsaric dharmas. In pursuit of the freedom of the nation, how many people sacrifice all other samsaric dharmas? If they not do, if they not see, don't they glorify and remember them whenever we have time? That they have done so much sacrifice for giving us the freedom which we are spoiling successfully. How many dharmas they sacrificed? Their duties, their responsibilities, everything they left because they were in pursuit of the freedom of the nation. That is only freedom of the nation. This is freedom from all birth and death. And there God is there. And in order to experience that God, Sada Ananda Atmaka, when He is given the opportunity to experience His true nature, what dharmas can come in their way? What dharmas can come and obstruct the people who are so tuned in Shraddha to Sri Krishna? This is the thing which Bhagavan says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Sarva Dharman. Then you can't say, I have this duty, that duty, that. Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Man Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Me alone, you have to pursue your surrender. Me alone. Then what if various other things happen because I left this dharma, that dharma? All papas will be removed from you. Aham tva sarva papabhyaha mokshayishyami masuja. I will take care of the papas. And I will liberate you from all of them. And give you liberation, which is the moksha, is my responsibility. It is a promise of Bhagavan. And who can really take up that promise as one's own way of living? Only the people who trust Sri Krishna, who has Shraddha on Sri Krishna. Anybody can't do that. Everybody cannot do that. Sarva Dharman Parityajya. I'm going to leave this job, that duty, that responsibility. Then what will happen? What will happen? If whatever happens, I will take care of it. What more we need? Assurance. This is guts, which is born through real understanding. The Gopikas, they were living this Sarvadharma Parityaja, including their dharma towards their husbands, family, including their dharma. For their understanding is Pati belongs to this Janma. This body is there, that body is there. That body in this relationship is a Pati to this body, which is called as Sati. This belongs to this Janma. But God, a eternal relationship. When there is an opportunity to become one with Him, who is eternal, then how can this dharma come in the day? In the union with Bhagavad Tattva, Sadananda, it cannot come. So Gopikas went beyond their Pativrata dharma also. Meaning, serving the husband and the family. Be attentive, be careful, be totally tuned by the grace of Krishna. Very important points. So, they did not bother about what family will tell, what husband will say, what neighbors will tell, what society will tell, what public opinion will be. They did not bother about these things. Nothing. For you and I, even to say that we are devoted to some God, we are worried. What will they think? What will he think? What will do? There are levels of Shraddha, and where were they in their levels of Shraddha? Everything they just left behind. Public opinion did not matter for them. That is why they went to Sri Krishna with bhakti, only in that devotion, and they had no fear, no bhaya of society, no bhaya of people at home. No fear, fearlessness and full of devotion. The devotion with fearlessness of anything that is around them. They just went there. In that spirit of vairagya to the samsara, they went to worship Lord and to be one with the Lord. When we decide to meditate upon Lord, even vritti dharma, udyoga dharma cannot come in our way. The one who has got attha vairagya to meditate upon Lord will throw this file away on the street and walk off. He just walks away. To think that if I support only, they will exist. If I don't support, they may not exist. Is another form of kartrutva bhavana. This is another form of doership. Works neither happen because of our presence, nor stop happening because of our absence. Please understand this. This is the truth and this is the reality. Works neither happen because of our presence, nor stop happening because of our absence. They happen. They are made to happen by Him. If we are not there, somebody else will take up. Swami Chinmayananda also answered the question. If you are not there, what will happen? Swamiji said, nothing will happen. A better person will take up and it will continue. What will happen? That is the answer, which is in line with the Shastra which we are discussing here. There was one person historically called Yavanacharya, and he decided to just be with God, and only his duty was hindering him. How to take care of the son, child and all that. If I go away, who will take care? So suddenly what happened? As he was contemplating upon that, the egg of a lizard fell down. And out of that egg came a small tiny baby lizard. And as he was looking at it, one mosquito and a fly came there near to it. It extended its tongue, top, it took it inside. Then he wondered, God who could provide food to the just born baby lizard, can't he take care of my child? He got the message, left and went to totally become one with God. See, for Gopikas, the Shraddha was so total that he alone was everything. He alone, not he also. He is important and others also are important. In the case of Gopikas, this is not at all functional. Not he also, then neighbors also, and people are walking on the street also, and somebody also, they don't surrender to anybody like that. He alone, Krishna alone. Not even he is more important than others. Others are less important than you. He alone, that God, he alone. That is why Gopikas practiced Sarvadharman Parityajya. They lived it. And actually, if you see in the life of Sri Krishna, Sarvadharman Parityajya sloka came after Vrindavana in the Kurukshetra. They already demonstrated it. What they demonstrated, later on it came out in the form of a sloka. Please understand this. Chronologically, in the lifespan of Sri Krishna, we see Sarvadharman Parityajya by Gopikas, they did it. Later on he told it to Arjuna. But they were demonstrating it. That is their level. And they are not only demonstrated Sarvadharman Parityajya, they also made everyone understand through their life. Ananyas Chintayanto Ma. Ananya Bhava, continuous, constantly tuned in devotion to Sri Krishna. That is why Sri Krishna's character was revealed to gopis in a different manner. In front of Shakuni, Krishna's character revealed in a different way. In front of Dushasana, who wanted to bind him, Krishna revealed his character differently. He reveals his character differently to different people because of the different attitudes and different approaches. In front of Gopikas, he revealed a different character. That is how Bhagavan is. Rasa Leela is intimate communion. Whereas in comparison to that Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna stands separate from Sri Krishna and listens to it. Because Bhagavad Gita was given through speech and Arjuna was away from Bhagavan. But in Rasa Leela, they were not away from Bhagavan. They were with Bhagavan. It was intimate communion. That's the difference. In Rasa Leela, there was touch, there was dance, there was song, there was music. All of them, all the sense organs, all indriyas were in tune with Sri Krishna. Mind, intellect, sense organs, everything is in tune and in surrender to Sri Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is Buddhi Pradana. There is no dance. There is no melody. In Rasa Leela, these things are there. Bhagavad Gita is Buddhi Pradana. In Rasa Leela, totally individuality is made with the divine. That is why there is ecstasy in Rasa Leela. In Bhagavad Gita, that ecstasy is not there, but wisdom is there. And through that wisdom, one gains oneness with God. That is different. But in Rasa Leela, then and there is ecstasy. Arjuna, only when he said, became Shishya. Shishya Steham Sharimakam Prabannam. I become your Shishya. You please become my Guru. And he became Nimitta Matra. Then only he could understand or he could receive the knowledge from Bhagavan. But whereas in the life of Gopikas, they already were Nimitta. And then only they came to Sri Krishna. That is why Gopikas had Aparoksha Anubhuti, direct experience of Sri Krishna Tattva. No indirect experience. And how they could be in that state? It is only because all the Gopikas in their previous existence were rishis. Rishis who had experienced the Bhagavan through Jnana, but they wanted to experience Bhagavan's Ananda Tattva through Bhakti. That is why they took birth as Gopikas. And it is said Stri Tattva is intuitive and direct, not analytically, rationally, intellectual like a man. A natural, original womanhood is direct and intuitive. Whereas a man is a rational, intellectual thinker. Stri Tattva is different. It can be direct, it can be open. It can be intuitive. That is the reason why Rishis chose Stri Tattva to experience the Ananda Swarupa of Sri Krishna. In the incident that is connected with the Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, there was a woman by the name Suryanagama. She used to write letters about what happened at the Bhagavan's ashram to others, and they are only there as a proof now to tell what all happened in the life of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. One day, when Velu's Sivarama Shastri, a great scholar, came there, Suryanagama requests him, "You are such a great scholar, you should write what is happening here, and then it is not right." And at that time, Velu Sivarama Shastri says, "Amma, only you have to write, because you are direct in experiencing what Bhagavan Leela is, and you will directly put it in the letter. If I am given the job, I may look at it from the scholarly angle and then add my interpretation. Better I not interfere and distort what exactly has happened. My interference will distort it. A woman as you are direct, you are intuitive, you will not distort. So, he did not take up that, he allowed her own people. That is why Rishis also wanted to experience the Ananda Tattva of Sri Krishna, so they took the Gopika's form. Rasa Leela means consciousness meeting with the consciousness, consciousness merging with the consciousness. That is Rasa Leela. There is only Ananda here. There is no question of any Jnanam there. Ananda Tattva. Bhagavan can be experienced through Jnana, Bhagavan can be experienced through Ananda. Once it so happened that Parikshit Maharaj, when he was listening to Bhagavatam from Shukra, after he heard about Rasa Leelas, he said, he understood about all dharmas and all. He said, Rasa Leela looks not justified to me. Parikshit asked Sukaprabhu, And Sukabrahma, knowing Parikshit's mind, gives this answer, which is very nice. He says, there is a small boy, and the mother of that boy gave a mirror to that small boy. So the small boy is looking at that mirror. In the mirror he sees his reflection, and he plays with his reflection. Is there any harm to it? Is there anything wrong in it? Parikshit says, no, not at all. Is there any dosha in it? Is there any fault? Is there any flaw? Is there any mistake? Is there any wrongdoing in it? So Parikshit, no, where is the wrongdoing? He is playing with his reflection. Where is the wrongdoing? Then Sukabrahma says, Bhagavan is Purna Purusha, and Bhagavan is playing with his reflections on the jivas. There are no two there is only one. In Rasa Leela there are no two people, there is only one. Bhagavan, who is the Bimba, played with reflections who are Pratibimbas. What is wrong in a Bimba playing with Pratibimbas? Can't he play with his reflections? He knows that they are reflections, and they also know. That is the glory here. When the reflection knows that it is a reflection, it is difficult to maintain the status of reflection as a reflection. As long as the reflection does not know that it is a reflection, it can maintain the status of a reflection. When the reflection knows that it is a reflection, it is difficult to maintain that status. It wants to merge with the Bimba, the original. Because it knows it is a reflection. How can it be a reflection? How can it remain as a reflection? When people don't know that they are reflections of Bhagavan, Purna Purusha, who is Bimba, they maintain. Gopikas know that they are reflections. They are reflections. Reflection is a reflection which has no status. There is no other status than the status of the original Bimba. That is the actual status of reflection. How can it maintain the status of reflection? So they were irresistibly drawn towards the original. They didn't want to maintain their status as a reflection anymore. When they know that they are mithya, as this upadhi, reflecting media is mithya, and the reflection is itself mithya, then duties connected with that reflection, can they be original? They are more mithya. Relatives connected with that upadhi, can they be real? They are much more mithya. Upadhi itself is illusion. Relationships of this upadhi, more mithya. Duties connected with the relationships of this upadhi, much more mithya. They knew that their upadhi itself is mithya. They are only a reflection of Bhagavan. So, nothing came in their way in order to leave the status of reflection and become and be the original status of the reflection. That is the Bimba. Bhagavan knew it, Gopikas knew it. All other people, they have false thinking due to ignorance, and they want to hold on to the idea mistakenly. They think they are Bimbas. Everybody thinks ignorance like Dr. B. I am original. Why does it? They when they understand this notion that I am original is wrong, I am only a reflection of Bhagavan, then the reflection will only become one with original and not with other reflections. That is why they were not bothered about reflections. Then Gopikas had Tadadnyata with Sri Krishna. Tad-atmyata. They were one with him. Not mere respect. Normally people have respect, but Gopikas had identity with Sri Krishna. Hanumanji also expresses various ways of connectivity with Sri Ram. On one occasion he says, Dasoham Kosalendrasya. I am the Dasa of Bhagavan Sri Ram. And later on, of course, he also says he is Bhagavan. But Gopikas say Sri Krishna is our Swarupa. For Gopikas, to maintain a separate identity is a hindrance. They can't maintain a separate identity because it prevents them from attaining true identity. If they maintain separate identity, I am so and so, they can't become one with the true identity. So, it is not a question of loyalty to the family, loyalty to the husband, loyalty to children, to relatives, etc. It is only a question of identity. Identity versus loyalty. They were wanting to be one with their true identity. So the loyalty towards others is immaterial. That was never in the picture. So Rasa Leela is not a loyalty to anyone. Rasa Leela is a true identity with Satya Vastu. The false identity of the Jivatma is left behind, and true identity with Sadananda Rupa Krishna is attained or gained. Anatma is false, and anything that is connected with Anatma is both false. So they left the Anatma and they wanted to be with Atma, Atma Swarupa. And here people think Sri Krishna was charmed by the beauty of the Gopikas. If we remember the incident of Kubja, who was utter ugliest woman, when she came into vicinity of Sri Krishna, he just touched her, and then she became the most beautiful woman. He who can grant beauty to others, can he be charmed by beauty or enchanted by beauty? Not only that, he was charmed by the girls, Gopikas, or women, Gopikas. In order to teach a lesson to Brahma, when he was a child only, Sri Krishna, when Brahmadeva hides all cows, calves, gopas, gopis, everybody, and wanted to see how he will tackle the situation now. Sri Krishna, out of his own body, manifested all of them, including those girls. And everybody returned, say, cows, calves, anything. He who can manifest everybody. Do you think he will be fascinated by a beautiful girl? That is not. So that is why we need a different way to look at it. And one more thing is, for Gopikas also, the light was more important than the lamp. The light is more important. The lamp, whether it is made up of mud or copper or silver or gold, they didn't see it. But the lamp to appear, the light to appear, it needs a lamp. The light of consciousness to appear, it needed Sri Krishna. A lamp that carries the light of consciousness. Connection with the lamp was actually immaterial for Gopikas. Intimate communion and oneness and the experience of light was most important. So the contact with the lamp, a touch with that lamp was only a trigger to experience the light. They danced with Sri Krishna, they were one with Sri Krishna, they held hand in hand with Sri Krishna. That was only touching the lamp to experience the light. Because the consciousness took that lamp of Krishna, form of Krishna, they experienced that through Sri Krishna. Body of Sri Krishna was only a connecting point. That sparsha, that touch was only actually Chaitanya sparsha, not Sharirika sparsha. They got tuned with that essence after the initial contact point. After that, they were not in that bodily level. They were in that Sadananda. Children, when they want to when they are taken to school, initially they don't go to school. They will come back and they will not go, they will cry, they will leave, all sorts of things they do. Some parents, they say, you go to the class, we will do chocolate. Go to the school, I will do chocolate. So initially, chocolate is the connecting point to the school. After some time, they get so much involved with the school that they don't bother about chocolates. They were so involved with the school. Like that, this was the connecting point for the Gopikas. That's all it is. Afterward, they were involved with the consciousness. Suppose somebody thinks that Gopikas and Gopal, these are all cowherd people, uneducated, illiterate people, so they were enchanted by Sri Krishna. Then you see the wives of Sri Krishna. All are queens, highly educated, from royal families. They were also charmed by Sri Krishna. So, the royal princes, queens, highly educated. They had all riches, but they were also. That itself will tell us Gopis or Gopikas, they knew a lot about the Swarupa of Sri Krishna. See, to identify with the Jnana Swarupa of Bhagavan is easier. Though it is difficult, it is easier. And when a Purusha and a Stree, Bhagavan is in the Purusha form and the Sadhaka is in the Stree form. Through Jnana, if there is an identity, it is acceptable for everybody. Jnana Rupa oneness, everybody accepts. No problem. But through Ananda, if the same Stree and Purusha, Bhagavan in the form of Purusha and Sadhaka in the form of Stree, oneness through Ananda, some problem to people to accept. Please understand this. This is the important point. Just as the oneness is experienced through Ananda, through Jnana, through Ananda also oneness can be experienced. If that is accepted, why this is not accepted? Because of our own limitations. We agree to the purest union through Jnana, but we don't agree to the purest experience of Ananda through Virasana. Please understand, third which is not polluted, third which is not made impure, being with the Upadhi or due to the Upadhi is Satyam. What is the truth? Truth is that which is not made impure or polluted by being with the Upadhi or due to the Upadhi. Upadhi is body, mind, intellect, sense organs, everything are Upadhis. So either by being with this Upadhi or due to the Upadhi, that which can never be polluted is Satyam. And that Satyam is Nirupadhika Chaitanya. Upadhi-less consciousness. Can Sri Krishna, who is Upadhi-less consciousness, be polluted by other Upadhis? Impossible. He is Upadhi-less consciousness. The same consciousness gave Jnanam through Krishna Upadhi to Arjuna and to many other people. The same consciousness through Krishna Upadhi gave the experience of Ananda to Gopikas. That is acceptable. This is not acceptable. Same Krishna Upadhi gave the experience of oneness through Jnana. But same Krishna Upadhi gave experience of oneness through Ananda. Both is possible. And here, this oneness which they experienced through the bliss, they knew that they are nothing but Sri Krishna Tattva. So they came out of all other identities and became one with that pure Sri Krishna Tattva. In that pure oneness, that pure consciousness cannot be tainted. It is absolutely pure. Even when Bhagavad Gita was taught, Arjuna also heard it, Sanjaya also heard it, Dhritarashtra also heard it through Sanjaya. But Dhritarashtra was tamasic, Arjuna was Rajasic, Sanjaya was Sattvic. Each person understood Bhagavad Gita in a different way because of their capacities and gunas, their ways of understanding. Jnana was available to all, but Sanjaya took it in one way, Arjuna took it in another way, Dhritarashtra did not take it in any way. That is the problem. Similarly, Ananda also is available to all. Women also, men also, cows also, plants also, trees also, other beings also. The Rasa Leela, many beings experience it in their different capacities. Everybody experiences in different capacity. Women here as Gopikas experience it in the maximum. That Ananda, that is all it is. That is the important. So, when Bhagavan showed Vishwarupa, Arjuna was frightened. Dhritarashtra did not understand. Sanjaya was jubilant. He was delighted. He was joyous. He was experiencing hallucinations in a different way. Adbhuta. Sanjaya saw it as an Adbhuta. Arjuna was frightened. Similarly, the Rasa Leela, each person sees it as per his own capacity. We may misunderstand it, we may add a physical thing to it, but somebody who is so tuned may experience the oneness of Ananda. Please understand this. And when the flower flowers, the fragrance comes out of the flowers. The petals that are closest to the fragrance get a maximum fragrance. The farthest petals get little lesser fragrance. In the orbit of our connections to Sri Krishna, Gopikas were in the closest orbit where the fragrance of Ananda was manifesting from Sri Krishna. They were in the closest orbit, so they got maximum. Animals also are in the orbit, but little inner orbit, innermost orbit, outer orbit, outermost orbit. Like that. There were people who were in the outermost orbit. There were plants and trees in the outer orbit. There were animals also in the outer orbit. Some were in the inner orbit and few were in the innermost orbit. The Rasa Leela was experienced with the people who were in the innermost orbit. And who places them into these orbits? Sri Krishna did not call Gopikas. He was only playing the flute. They went and then they arranged themselves around the king. He did not place them in the orbit. In a classroom, when students go, fresh class, new class starting. New class was started, commencing. The college commences or school commences. Students go and sit there. Some students sit in the first row, some students in the middle rows, some students in the last rows. They arrange themselves. That is all happens generally. Even in the seating anywhere, individuals choose their rows. Nobody asks them, you sit here, you sit there, you don't sit here, and all that. Similarly here also, all of them arranged themselves in their own respective orbits depending upon their intensity of faith or shraddha. And it is said, whenever there is Ananda that is experienced, there will be Nrutyam, there will be Gana, dance and song. When Bhagavad Gita was told, there is Gambhirata in it. Little seriousness is there in it because the Jnanam was given. But here there is easiness. That is why singing also, dancing also. And Krishna also did not mind dancing also, singing also, and melodiously adding that nada also. He went on with all that. So it is a great occasion where this beauty happened, this Ananda experience happened. Even there are so many lokas in creation. Jivas arrange themselves in various lokas. Some lokas are great, some lokas are less great. Not because of anything else, but only because of their proximity or distance. Those lokas which are very close to God, they are highest. Those which are very far from God, in their orbit, they are lowest. That is all. So, Tivra Mokshitvam, Tivra Sadhana, intense desire for liberation and intense practice take sadhakas to Brahmaloka, which is closest in orbit. And from there they came like that. When the Rasa Leela happened, incidentally Gopikas happened to be girls. Anybody else in that state of surrender would definitely experience the problem. Otherwise, actually, if we see, they are highly evolved souls. And only in that Vrindavan, Bhagavan shined as Ananda Swarupa, and in Kurukshetra, Bhagavan shined as Jnana Swarupa. And it is said that Ananda Swarupa not only was experienced by Gopikas, Radha and others at that time there, but even today, attunement with Sri Krishna, one can experience the Ananda of Rasa Leela, which is Ananda Hera. Bhagavad Gita was not only understood at that time in Kurukshetra by Arjuna and Sanjaya and various others. Even today, through the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, people attain the highest stage of evolution and then oneness with Bhagavan. Similarly, the significance of Rasa Leela, if it is understood, even today, one can experience the Ananda here and now and be with that Ananda of Bhagavan in Sri Krishna. In Rasa Leela, Sato plus Chitu plus Ananda was there. In Kurukshetra, Sato plus Chitu was there. So that is how, both in Rasa Leela and Bhagavad Gita, one thing you have to understand, both of them are liberating events, not evolving events. They are liberating events. Depending upon the superiority of the sadhaka, the liberation happens. Please understand, they are events of liberation. In Rasa Leela also, they were all liberated. They became one with Bhagavad. That is all. That is all it is. So, Arjuna surrendered to the Guru. Then he understood Paramatma. Krishna as Paramatma. Gopikas were already surrendered to Bhagavad Tattva. So the barrier ego was not there. So for those people who have barrier ego, it is very difficult to surrender. Unless they drop that ego, they cannot experience the Bhagavad Tattva. And only when they surrender, the infinite flow of the joy will be there. Gopikas already surrendered. They have surrendered their identity. They have surrendered their existence. They have surrendered everything that belongs to them to Bhagavan. Sarva Dharman Parityajya. And they were always in Ananyas Chintanayatma. Continuously contemplating, meditating, thinking, being with God and setting aside all dharmas. That is why Bhagavan gave them that experience of Ananda Tattva in Rasa Leela, which even today can be experienced if we can surrender everything like that and then tune to Bhagavad Tattva. He will give the same opportunity as he gives to Bhagavad Gita Jnana to realize oneness with him and then experience that peace and joy. Even love is possible. So, he who makes such things possible is Krishna. That is what we are saying. Please remember this and understand that Rasa Leela was a communion of Gopikas who knew that their essence is consciousness, rest all is illusion. And with the consciousness, they became one. That is Rasa. Never ever ordinary levels. Even today we can experience it if we tune to that level. May by the grace of Bhagavan, we be uplifted to that level where experience by His grace. He is Jnana Tattva and Ananda Tattva. बोलो श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्री राम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे